Diverging on the left, the lakeside line to Interlaken. To set the scene for our next journeys, we look out from the top of the Harder funicular on a ridge above Interlaken. The Berner Oberland Bahn will take us up into the Lütschine Valley to Lauterbrunnen. There we will change trains to climb steeply into the high alpine pastures and eventually to the year-round snowfields up among these peaks to over 11,000 feet above the sea. At Interlaken Ost, arriving visitors must change to meter gauge to travel onward, either by the BOB southwards or eastwards on a Brünig train, here leaving beside us. In the past, through sleeping cars have run to Interlaken from Calais and from the Hook of Holland. Today's British visitors probably arrive in one of the hourly through trains from Zurich Airport. At Wilderswil, the BOB connects with the Schynige Platter rack line, still operating its first electric locomotives from 1914. Two trains coupled together, with a driver in the middle power car, run as far as the next station, Zweiluchinen, where the valley and the train both divide. The rear train will diverge left to follow the Black Lütschine to Grindlewald. Note the standard gauge wagons on transporters. So the train is divided here. We in the front will follow the White Lütschine River, straight ahead. Re-signalling seems to have occurred between the two filming dates. The Berner Oberland Bahn opened in 1890 and was electrified at 1500 volts DC in 1914. The A sign marks the start of the first section of Riggenbach Rack, by which we climb at about 1 in 11. This is a valley within a valley. The river has cut deeply into softer rock, forming high cliffs, above which are the real Alps, high pastures where the cattle are taken every summer. Current for all the railways in this area is supplied from this water-powered generating station, located near the foot of the next step in the valley floor. Some spectacular waterfalls cascade down these cliffs. Ahead the Stubach Falls have come into view. The second rack section takes us up into Lauterbrunnen. Here most passengers will cross the platform to the Wengernalp Railway's train, but we shall first cross the road to the lower station of a funicular. This is the BLM, the Bergbahn Lauterbrunnen Mürren, serving the village of Murren on the top of the western cliffside. A direct railway route up from Lauterbrunnen would have been far too costly, so the railway builders had to settle for a two-section system. Opened in 1891, power was at first by water counterbalance until electrified in 1902. The overhead wire isn't, of course, for traction power, but only for lighting and for communication with the conductor on the car. Double-flanged wheels and steamroller wheel. That's a platform for carrying freight on the lower end of the car. As there's no road up to Mürren, all supplies come up by rail. The upper station, where we transfer to a normal meter-gauge railway, is Grütschalp. The freight is handled mechanically. Passengers exercise their legs. You can understand how incorrect impressions of train drivers steering their charges get about. Few shuttle services have such wonderful views in fine weather to relieve staff monotony. I said in fine weather, as the first time Alan arrived in Mürren was in dense cloud. His fingers could not be seen when held out at arm's length. The passing place is Winteregg. These modern cars were new in 1967, only 2 years before filming. Murren is about 5,380 feet above sea level, or 3,500 feet above Interlaken. But we will look across at the Eiger Jungfrau group from an even higher viewpoint, for in 1912 a funicular was opened above Mürren to take the visitors 850 feet higher to Almendhubel. The upper station is reached through a 200-yard tunnel. Outside a stupendous view with cowbell accompaniment. What a spot for a picnic! But we'll leap back down to Lauterbrunnen to join the crowd on the 80 centimetre gauge Wengernalp Bahn. This is 100% rack equipped, as the power units drive only through the cogwheels. Hence even level track needs the Riggenbach rack. We turn onto the newer line, at 1 in 5.5, less steep than the 1 in 4 original line, which was liable to be blocked by rockfalls. There's Lauterbrunnen and the BLM funicular. The Wengernalp Bahn opened in 1893 and was steam operated until electrification in 1909. Like the BOB, it's 1500 volts DC, but with the narrower gauge, through running has never been possible, to the inconvenience of many thousands of visitors every year, as this is part of one of Switzerland's most popular attractions. At the far end of the valley is the 12,400-foot Breithorn, and we look round to gaze on the 13,500-foot Jungfrau. That's the top of the old line on our right. It's mostly used by goods trains to Wengen. On busy days a second train may be run in the same timing, a safe distance behind. Wengen has no road access. Everyone and everything arrives by rail. We've alighted to make another side trip. In the last 60 years, very few new mountain railways have been built. Cableways are so much easier and less costly. Indeed, so many now operate, cynics say you can ride up every Swiss mountain. So no apologies for including a cableway. The main disadvantage is the limit to passenger capacity. This car is listed as holding 40 persons. Many will not get good views. This line is just over a mile long and climbs 3,050 feet at an average gradient of 70%. The journey took 8 minutes. Each car has pairs of tiny wheels which ride on 2 carrying cables. Duplicate haulage cables connect the counterbalanced cars. Considering weight and distance, tension on the cables must be enormous, requiring extremely firm foundations for the anchorages at the line's terminals. On the short walk to the summit of the Männlichen, To be more sure of good views, don't delay the descent. You'll have more chance of a good position when fewer people are riding. Wengen below seems quite a large place, and it's beautifully quiet, no cars. Only pedestrian-controlled battery-electric trolleys are permitted for parcels and luggage. Across the valley we see the rough track which makes its way up to Mürren's high shelf. Authorized essential vehicles only. All too soon, we're down again.